Welcome to the Author's Corner with A.C. Campbell. Join us as we take a tour around the literary industry with interviews and features within and throughout the industry. And now, the show.
You know, even after 20 years, readers are still captivated with How to Lose a Black Woman. Now, in its second printing, follow the story of Bruce Williams. Shall I say, mild-mannered school teacher in search of love? Using social media, prayer, and a lot of trial and error, Bruce fights to learn what a true relationship is all about. Filled with original poetry by H.D. Campbell, it's a lesson from one young man's point of view. Buy How to Lose a Black Woman on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Smashwords, in your favorite bookstore, and even on his website at www.hdcampbell3.com. And as always, let your writing fuel your spirit.
What got me inspired to write was the fact that I had been ill. I had been in the hospital. I had suffered what I thought was pneumonia. I slipped into a coma. Actually, I suffered a stroke, and I slipped into a coma for about 2 weeks back 7 years ago in 2014. And from there, I had to go into rehab and kind of rehabilitate myself. I had to start over from scratch, how to walk, how to eat, dress, the whole 9 yards. I was unable to do anything for myself. And what got me inspired was to write, because I've always wanted to write, just didn't know how to get started. Well, I had the opportunity to come to write the story because somebody, a friend of mine, Reverend Hurley, saw something in me, a vision of how I strive and survive what I've been through. And she said, you need to put this in a book. You need to write a chapter about it. So the visionary author of this book got together with 21 other women. And she said, all of us need to tell our stories of what we've been through, how we survived it, and how we are now thriving to make a better life for ourselves, and how to inspire others who may be going through similar situations and adversities, and how we've been able to thrive from that. So that's really what got me started writing. I write in journals. I usually start all my writing by writing in journals. And I keep a desk full of journals, blank ones and full ones. And from there, I pulled together a story. And I wrote this chapter and titled it Surviving a Coma and Thriving. And it basically tells how I went through this adversity, how I had to learn how to, as I said, to walk, how to dress, how to feed myself, how to bathe myself. And just like a newborn baby, we have to learn how to walk and crawl. I had to learn how to walk all over again. And it's left me permanently disabled. I'm in a wheelchair, but that hasn't stopped me. I still get out. I still go out to church every Sunday. I still go out to dinners and lunches. I don't travel as much, but I still get out. I still enjoy a full life. And I'm working on a second book. I don't have a title for it yet. And then I'm getting ready to go back to school and seminary to earn my master's degree in theology. So I'm doing a lot. That's how I keep moving, and that's how I keep thriving. And I like to see, hopefully, my golden aim is to inspire, as I said, other people in how to survive. You cannot let your disabilities or your handicaps define who you are. You have to be able to overcome them to a certain degree and learn how to thrive in your situation. Because it can be done. You know, you can still do it. Don't let a wheelchair stop you from doing what you have always wanted to do or dreamed of doing. you can still do it. And that's the aim of my goal, or the purpose of my life right now, is to let other people know, men and women alike, it doesn't matter what age group, you can survive. You still can do it. You can still have a meaningful life, and you can still enjoy life. Life doesn't stop just because you're disabled or you have a disability or a handicap. Life doesn't stop. Life goes on. So learn how to get around it. I mean, I travel all over the city using my power wheelchair. I ride on SEPTA. I use paratransit when necessary. So, I mean, I do get around. There's nothing that keeps me tied home. I don't sit home all day and not do anything. I kind of get myself up every morning, have breakfast, I get dressed, and then if I go out, do what I have to do, and come back. So it can be done, and that's what I want to do. I want to motivate people to go beyond their abilities. Look beyond your abilities, but more importantly, look to God as your guide. Because if it wasn't for God in my life, I wouldn't be here, and I wouldn't be doing the things that I'm doing. I wouldn't be giving interviews. I wouldn't be talking about surviving and thriving as I do. So that's the most important thing I want people to get from this. Hold on to your faith, pray every day, and find something that interests you. If it's writing, write. Keep a journal, because stories are brought from journals. If you keep a journal, you can put together pieces by piece stories of your life, of a situation, or something that you've been through that you feel you want to share. A lot of things may be deeply personal to you, and if you want to share it, you'll share it. But you can do that in a way that people will understand where you're coming from, and they can empathize with you, sympathize with you, and maybe even see a little bit of themselves in you. So that's what I'm hoping happens, and what has happened with this book, Queens Who Defied the Odds. Those that have bought it have seen a little bit of themselves in each one of the stories that you'll find in this book. And I'm still selling books on my website. I still get orders on my website.
Awesome, awesome. You actually gave me a lot more than I bargained for, which is so so awesome. No, no, that's actually that's awesome because see, what you did, you basically just gave your entire testimony, which is what I love.
Mm-hmm.
I have a series on here called Walking Testimonies, and
Mm-hmm.
so no, your testimony was so welcome, and you are a part of our Walking Testimony series. So, like I said, oh, that's wonderful. I need you to do me a favor though. I need you to go back, and I need you to tell me, how hard was it to write and relive everything you went through?
I thought it was going to be difficult to write and relive everything I've been through. But once I started writing, the words kept pouring out. So by the time I stopped writing, I had wrote 3,000 words. And and I still had more to say, but we were limited by the space we had to write and what we were asked to write. So that's why I say there is another book coming out, but under a different title, and I still have more to say. So it wasn't as difficult as I thought it was, but once I got started, like I said, the words just kept pouring out. My thoughts kept pouring out. I talked about how sometimes I would become depressed doing my rehabilitation. I felt lost sometimes. I felt abandoned sometimes. You go through the gamut of the whole emotions of what you suffered. And the fact that I was in that coma for 2 weeks and not knowing whether or not I was going to wake up again, that in itself was painful to relive, because as I'm laying there in that hospital bed looking, in this state of not knowing anything, I could actually see myself. I could see my own funeral being held, that type of thing. I saw people, I saw my mom, my dad, I had to relive. I saw that and relived it in my mind. So I was able to put that in writing. And like I said, once I started writing, I just kept on writing. Every morning I would get up at a certain hour and start writing. And the words just kept coming out, just kept pouring out of me. And like I said, when I got too close to the end, I had to stop and cut it off. So in order to meet the required wordage, I had to stop and cut it off. But there was more inside of me that I wanted to say, but I'll say more when in the next book that's going to be coming out. I'm doing another anthology, and we're working on that now. We don't have a title yet, but we're working on that now.
Beautiful, beautiful. As you was going through rehab and everything, what type of support system did you
have? Well, let me tell you this. Anybody that can tell you that rehab is easy, they're wrong. Rehab is hard. It's a lot of hard work because they will come and get you up every morning and take you down to the center where they, hold their rehabilitation, and they will put you through your paces. The first thing I learned was how to walk. So they had me up on my feet using a walker the very next day after I got there, because they needed to get my strength back into my legs and get me moving. So they got me up every morning and they would get me dressed. And then the rehab personnel would come up and get me, wheel me down in a wheelchair down to the rehab. And then they get me standing up, and using a walker, I would take baby steps and I would walk from one end of the facility to the other. And when I got good enough at it, I walked around the facility and back. I had to use weights. I had to use all kinds of steps because I had to learn to get more mobility back into my legs and mobility into my upper body. I lost all that strength and all that agility that I had before I went into the coma. I lost all that. So that's why I say rehab is hard, and the hardest part is learning how to walk again, because you're so afraid of falling. And I was so mindful of that I didn't want to fall. I didn't want to hurt myself or injure myself again. So that was hard. Walking was hard. And the next thing was learning how to dress yourself. I mean, you had to learn how to put on, everything. So learning how to dress yourself, learning how to wash, because I couldn't stand up on my own. So I had to have somebody help me get in the shower, get out of the shower, and, basically, wash my face and hands and wash me from head to toe, and all that. So rehab was difficult. It was very difficult, and a couple times, I got upset, and I got, as I said, depression, and I got upset that I wasn't progressing as far along as I wanted to progress, but I knew that it would take time. Nothing is done in a day, and you can't move mountains in a day. So I just had to be patient and learn everything and do what I was, asked to do, and I did. I was there 6 months in rehab.
That is beautiful. That is beautiful. So my next question for you is, how did all that manifest into words?
I just took it one day at a time, and like I said, I would begin writing. I did a couple rewrites because I didn't like the way I said things. So I would just put it down in writing as to how each day went. I described every and every day of rehab and how it went. I described the good days. I described the bad days, the in-between days, the activities that we had to do, what activities that were provided, and how they helped me keep my spirits up. So they provided counseling in some instances, and had someone I could talk to. And then they were good about doing that, because they didn't want you to regress into a depressive state where they couldn't manage you. So they stayed on top of making sure that you had everything that you needed at your fingertips, and that your needs were being met. And that means, medications, having someone to talk to, visitors. They encourage visitation, family and friends, church members. So they encourage visitations. And I know everybody had jobs and had things to do and had their own lives to deal with. So I didn't have as many visitors as I would have liked. But my brother and my nieces came by when they could. They would help me sit up on the edge of the bed and help me comb my hair and help me put on makeup just to make me look presentable. And they would sit with me and talk with me and make sure I was okay.
Beautiful, beautiful. So let's talk about the book for a second. So
Sure.
now put the story in. The story is how was the book being received so far? How is your story in particular being received?
It's hard to say because when you read the book, and I urge you to get the book from my website, throw a plug in there. When you read the book and when you read the stories of the other 21 women who wrote in their book about their adversities versus mine, I could emulate with every one of them what they went through. And they could emulate with me as to what I went through. And they were a source of encouragement and how to, and kept pushing me and encouraging me to don't give up and and keep going. So it was a source of encouragement to have these other 21 women work with, we work together on this. And we still communicate with each other. We still communicate and we still support each other.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So in anthologies, okay, I'm trying to get people at home my readers to explain how anthologies work with authors. So how did you get to be in an anthology with 21 other women?
Well, the visionary author of this book, Cheryl Hurley, she contacted each one of us individually and said, you have stories to tell, and I want you to work on this book project with me. It started out as a book project. It's called an anthology because you're working with 21 other people, and it's not just your writings and you putting the book out. You're doing it with 21 other women, and you're sharing your ideas and thoughts in this book. So that's why it's called an anthology. And she was the visionary author behind this. She's the one that pushed us to write these stories about what we've been through, and said it would be a great help to inspire, to encourage other women as well as men who, to, as I said, to survive their adversity, to maintain a form of dignity. Like I said, being in a wheelchair doesn't define who I am. It's just the opposite. I am who I am because of my disability and because I have not allowed it to become a defining part of my life. I use it as a inspiration to motivate others. So being and working with these other 21 women has been the leading force behind that. And Cheryl Hurley, the visionary author, has been a tremendous help in getting us to understand and respect ourselves and to encourage each other to do this book. And it was fun too. We had a great time doing it.
Awesome. Let's talk about you now. Because it sounded like throughout the whole interview, you ready to put some more words out there. I know you don't have a title out yet, but how soon do you think it'll be for your next piece coming up?
I was gonna say by the end of the year, but may not happen until the spring. I've already submitted my chapter to the publisher. So, and she was waiting for the other group of people that are working on this project as well to submit their chapters. So it probably won't come out much before the spring of next year, 2022. And hopefully within the next couple of weeks, within the next month or so, because the holidays are now setting in, I'm hoping that we'll be able to talk about the title, and we can start letting people know what the title of the book is going to be, the next anthology book is going to be. And in that book, that's where I get a little bit more detail about how it affected my life and how God had played a big role in it. Because God did play a big role in my life in saving me. Because if he hadn't done what he did, and I give him all the praise and all the glory and all the honor, because if he hadn't brought me back from that coma, I wouldn't be sitting here doing an interview with you, or the 4 other interviews I've done since this book has come out. So it is because of God and what he has done for me and been in my life that I'm here and to have survived that coma and being able to rehab myself and come back out of rehabilitation, back into society, living on my own, and being the woman that I want to be. So yeah, I give God all the praises for that. So that's what I get a little bit more into detail about in my next book.
Awesome. Because now you got a lot of people that's gonna read this book, read your part. They're gonna be waiting for this next part. So tell me, where can we buy your book? First, where can we buy your book? How can we get to know you? How can we learn more about you as an author?
Well, to buy the book that is currently out, I have a website. It's www.janevhopkins, all one word, .com, and they can go there and purchase the book. It's $19.99 plus $4 for shipping and handling, since I'm in Philadelphia and I'm not sure where everybody else is going to be coming from. And so yeah, that's what the cost of the book is. You know, and that's how they're going to be able to find out a little bit more about who I am. I talk about my background as far as my parents, my siblings. Both my parents are now deceased. 3 of my brothers are now deceased. I have 1 sister that's deceased. So I only have a brother and a sister left. There's only 3 of us left. And so we kind of lean on each other for support when we can. And we see each other not on a regular basis because everybody's working. I'm the only one that don't work anymore. So that's why I have this time to write and go to school. But between their jobs and family, it's been difficult for us to kind of get together and spend some real quality family time. So yeah, if they want to purchase the book, I know I sent you a little sheet, but this is the book. I don't know if they can see it. Yes. For Queens Who Defy the Odds. And as I said, it's $19.99 and plus $4 shipping and handling. And as soon as I get the notification from PayPal, I can get the book in the mail to them and ship it out to them the next day.
Awesome. So now, what do you, when you're not, studying or doing rehab or writing, what do you like to do? What do you like to do in your spare time?
Well, in my spare time, when I'm not writing or out going to doctor's appointments or in church on Sundays, I watch TV. I watch a lot of movies. I don't play video games because I'm not into that, but I do watch a lot of movies. I love my science fiction movies, so I basically tune in for those. I occasionally watch a documentary or follow the news to pull the weather. And then I do a lot of reading. I do a lot of reading because I get inspiration from reading various types of books. I get inspiration from writing in my journals to kind of keep up with my journaling. And I don't cook as much as I used to. I used to cook a lot, but I don't cook as much as I used to. But I have someone that comes in and helps me cook and clean and keep the place going. And sometimes I'll just get on the bus and take a bus ride into Center City and just go watch window shop. Occasionally I will go out to lunch by myself just to get out the house and get away from the house. I will go out to lunch, and sometimes dinner. But other than that, it's not much more that I really do, because sometimes I just need downtime not to be able to do anything when I'm not actually busy doing something else. So, but that's basically what I do. Yeah, a lot of reading, a lot of reading.
So I love that. I love that. Now, I know you said you had something coming out next year, but is there any more coming out beyond that you're thinking about at least?
Well, once I get through this next book project, my concentration then will be working on my master's degree in theology. I am a first year student at United Lutheran Seminary, where I'll be majoring in theology. So I'll be taking classes. I'm scheduled to take 3 classes beginning January 26th. So one class is online, a couple classes I have to go on campus for. So for the next year and a half, I will probably be pretty much involved with my studies. After that, I do plan on writing another book, a third book, but this time that book will be under my own name. I won't be working with anybody, in a group type setting. I'll be trying to put together a book under my own name and authorship and getting it published. I'm not a self-publisher, so I'm going to be working with a publishing company, because I think that kind of work is too involved to work on your own. I think you need to have someone who's really professional at it and knows how to get your book out there and get it published and help you get your sales up and get your book sales. So, but that's kind of down the road. Like I said, the book that's coming out early spring of next year. That will probably be my last one until after I graduate from the seminary with my master's degree, because I want to give my full attention to that.
I understand that. So, first I want to say you are definitely inspiration. You're a big time inspiration. You'll be the next in line for my Walking Testimony series when it's not aired in a couple of weeks. But my final question, and you've been doing this the whole time, but I need to give you some more words. I always give my authors the final word. Say whatever they want to say. They give shout outs, they can give testimony, they can give advice, whatever you want to say, the floor is yours.
Okay. Well, I really don't have a whole lot to say. I just want people to be encouraged. I know I want them to know that, like I said, that if they have a disability or if they for some reason are handicapped, don't let that handicap or that disability define you. If you are a religious person, you know God as your personal savior, lean on him for support and support. Read his word daily, study his word daily, and he's going to guide you. He's going to open doors for you. My favorite scripture is Jeremiah 29:11. And if you know that one, you know that God has a plan for you. And all you have to do is believe and keep faith and let him guide you. Let him be the one that does the work for you. You can't do everything on your own, but let God guide you and let him be your direction. Because he does has a plan for you. He has a plan for all of us. We may not see it, we may not understand it, but you are not supposed to be able to understand it. God is understanding it. And he knows what he wants from each of us. And we just have to be willing to say, yes, Lord, I will do it. I will follow you. I will commit to you. And if you do that, you can't go wrong. You really can't go wrong. And I just want people to be encouraged. Don't be afraid to step out of your little comfort zone, because that's what I was. Step out, get outside that comfort zone and be bold about it and step into your own.